Here are some ways you as a musician can learn to work and play well with others. These have less to do with musicianship and more to do with professionalism. Number 1, learn how to use your gear. Play around with new toys at home before using them in public. I can tell you firsthand that it feels pretty awkward to fiddle with your equipment on stage while everybody's staring at you, so learn to use it at home first. Number 2 is to learn your part outside rehearsal. The only time you have an excuse for being unfamiliar with your part is when a band leader passes it out for the first time. After that, spend time learning your part at home. The most effective rehearsals are when everybody has learned their part at home and the band leader can spend rehearsal time working on the finer points. The most excruciating rehearsals are when someone has not done their homework and everybody has to stop and help drill that person's part, which is something they could have done at home. Number 3, show up on time, not just for gigs, but for rehearsals, meetings, everything. Showing up late shows disrespect for everybody else's time, so if downbeat for rehearsal is at 6 o'clock, you need to show up early enough to set up your gear, tune up, warm up, and be ready to start at 6. Number 4, be easy to work with. Learn how to accept constructive criticism from band leaders and other musicians. Learn to give constructive criticism without being insulting. Learn your parts, help others haul equipment, set up or pack up. Don't noodle on your instrument while somebody else is talking. In other words, be considerate, be helpful, and be a team player. Number 5, dress and act appropriately for the gig. How you dress depends on the gig. If you're playing in an ensemble, there might be some sort of dress code. And if there's no clear dress code, or if you're playing a solo gig for maybe a corporate event, a good rule of thumb is to dress at least as well as you expect the attendees to dress. And as far as the way you behave in public, always assume somebody is watching you, even if you're just playing background music. Number 6, show up with all the equipment you need and spares. It helps to keep a checklist. Bring extra batteries, cables, picks, a power strip. These are all little things that can make or break a gig. If you play fingerstyle guitar, bring nail care supplies for fingernail emergencies. And as a guitarist, you should always have a couple extra sets of strings, a peg winder, and some string cutters. Number 7, make sure you know how to act during sound check. Sound check is the time for the sound person to make adjustments so that your group sounds good out front and each player can hear what they need to hear in the monitors. Sound check is not the time to launch into a solo or noodle around while others are playing. So pay attention to the sound person. They are in charge. The sound person will ask individuals to play on their own, so wait for your turn. When it's time for your check, play something that you'll be playing in the show and play at the volume you'll play during the performance. At some point, the sound person will ask the entire band to play, so they can make final adjustments to the EQ and the levels. During sound check, you'll need to let the sound person know if anything needs to be changed in your monitor. You'll need to be able to hear yourself, of course, but you may also want more or less of certain other instruments, like maybe hearing the bass and drums clearly so you can lock in with the rest of the rhythm section. So let the sound person know what needs to come up or down during sound check so they have fewer adjustments to make during the show. And one final piece of advice, particularly for guitar players, turn your amp off before you unplug your guitar cable. And if you're working with the sound person, make sure it's okay with them before you unplug anything, otherwise you may get a very loud surprise. Go ahead and leave a comment if you'd like to add anything, and for more guitar lessons, music theory, and solo guitar arrangements, please subscribe.